Hello and welcome to another edition of That Dude Rambles. I'm your host, Brian, and today I wanted to take a moment to talk about track days. And why should you do a track day? Well, it makes sense because I'm on my way to a track day right now. As you can see, I've got the Land Shark loaded up behind me, and we're headed out to Thunderhill Raceway to go ride with Keegwins at the track. So why should you do a track day? Well, let's try the easier route. Why shouldn't you do a track day? And I think the only reason that you shouldn't do a track day is that you really don't want to. You don't really enjoy riding motorcycles, and nothing about riding on a racetrack sounds appealing to you. And if that's the case, I don't know why you're watching. Let me get over for this guy. So, I guess the other reason you shouldn't do a track day is because you have a gigantic touring bike that really doesn't have much cornering clearance. Those aren't really well suited to the track. So let's start on that note. Bikes that you probably don't think are suited for the track? Wrong! I was out yesterday at the track riding with Keegwins at Thunderhill, and we had a BMW 1200 GS on the track and some other sport touring bike. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it was definitely larger than a VFR 800. Wasn't quite like a BMW K1600, but it was a healthy looking sport touring bike. And both those guys were out ripping it up on the track. In fact, the 1200 GS was in the B+ group with me, running lap times much quicker than I am on my R6. Now, he's a very experienced rider on that machine, but nonetheless, I've seen a lot of different bikes out there that are not your latest and greatest super sports or super bikes. And it just goes to show that to get out and have a good time and hone your skills, you don't have to have the latest and greatest machine. So if that's not why you're not doing a track day, say you've got something along the same lines as my R6 here. You got a nice, quick, super sport bike designed to go fast. Probably designed based around a racing type of motorcycle. So why aren't you doing a track day then? Are you afraid to wreck? I know that's a valid concern, and it's something that I'm concerned myself with. In fact, much of the time and money that I have spent on the bike and my gear relates to the possibility of me crashing. So I get that. But it's not just the wild, wild west. Now, I can't speak to other track organizations, but I've been riding with Keegwins for a year now, and it's an amazing organization. And if you come out as a novice rider and you let them know, hey, I've never been to the racetrack before, can you help me go over some etiquette, show me the line, show me exactly where I should be on the track, they're more than happy to take you out and run the track with you one-on-one. And you'll follow them around the track. They'll have you stay real close to them, and you'll get to see the lines and the braking points and get comfortable where you should be on the track. And you've got an experienced instructor. These are not just any idiot. Keegwins only brings on highly qualified professionals, and they're awesome at riding. I can't pass a single one of them yet. But anyways, you've got professional help available to you. And if you're a first-time rider, I actually highly encourage you, go out and find an instructor, work with several instructors, get some help on the track, ask for advice. Which brings us to our next point, the track family. It's incredible how much it's like a family out at the track. People that don't even know each other are sharing parts and tools just to help each other, excuse me, stay on the track. I've seen people running through the paddock asking for specific hubs for their bike, very unique hubs. I've seen people asking for specific tools for specific bikes. And guess what? If you're running a common type of bike, an R6, a Ducati, Aprilia RSV, BMW S1000RR, I see handfuls of each of these bikes. Chances are you may end up with some help if you're in a jam and you need some help. Now, if you've got something completely off the wall, like, maybe an MV Augusta, well, come to think of it, I think Dave Moss rides one of those. And that's another good point. The help you get. Not just the vendors, but suspension tuning, the experts out there. We're fortunate to have Dave Moss at our events with Keegwins, and it's phenomenal. You pay $40 and you've got a wealth of knowledge at your fingertips. Not only will he set your bike up, but he will help you answer your questions about tire pressure as well as ergonomics. In fact, I'm on my way to the track early today so that I can get some setup done on the bike before my first few sessions. I'm probably going to skip the first session because it's a bit cooler today, and frankly I'm pretty tapped after yesterday anyways. So today's sessions are going to count. I'm going to be taking extensive notes and developing my notes based on tire pressures, temperature, and I'm going to be working specifically on some lap time items, mainly braking later in the turns. So it's going to be an interesting day. It's going to be a ton of fun like always. And if you're on the fence and you're thinking about it, I highly encourage you to check out your local track day providers. If you don't have any locally, that's a bummer. Maybe worth planning a camping trip, gather some friends. Now, if you don't have a bike, or say you've got the bike I'd love to run, maybe a Ducati Panigale V4S, or maybe I don't want the S, I don't know, I've got to ride them both. We'll see. You know, maybe you don't want to take that $28,000 beauty out to the track for your first time. Maybe you don't want to take that thing out to the track at all. And you don't have the ability to pick up an old used bike that can make a phenomenal track bike. Fair enough. In our case, out here, we have Feel Like a Pro, who comes out with race-prepped Kawasaki 300 and 400 Ninjas. Now, I know you immediately like, oh, I don't want to ride a 300 or 400. Shut up. Those things will rail if you know what you're doing. A fast A group rider will either be all over my heels, if not pass me a couple times at Thunderhill West, which is a tighter, smaller course. It's about a 2-mile course, doesn't have much for straightaways, and a lot of back-to-back turns. Those little bikes rip, and those guys are building up more ability, which is what it's ultimately about. See, track days aren't about racing. Yeah, I'm sure it's fun to come out with all your buddies, challenge each other a bit, ride with each other at high speed, but mainly it's a safe place to hone your skills. In my experience, it's about a 30 to 36 foot wide lane, which traffic only runs one direction. All of the traffic weighs about the same as you, with the exception of those sport tours. Occasionally we see some supermotos though, and those also rip on Thunderhill West, the tighter course. But it's about honing your skills in a safe environment where you can push yourself, where you can break past the point where you're scared, think you're gonna mess your pants. And you can push it. Why? Because you've got a clear runoff. There's no street signs, there's no light poles, there's no deer, sand in the road. Oil, if there's oil, you'll know about it. They've got flaggers out there. They've got people who actually clean and clear the track off anytime the oil's been spilled. So anyways, I'm starting to ramble. That's why we call it That Dude Rambles. So yeah, the racetrack is just an incredible place to hone your abilities, and it'll improve your street riding as well. Not only do you not have to ride that way on the street, I kind of wouldn't encourage it. The pace I've been riding at the track, I'm just not comfortable riding on the street. I don't know the conditions. I'm not going to get into all that, but you guys know it's not the same. A racetrack is a highly controlled environment where you have flaggers monitoring every turn. In fact, that's part of your job as a rider. You've got two jobs: have fun and watch the flaggers in the corners. If they're throwing a yellow flag, or if they're throwing oil on the track flag or fluid on the track flag, you want to see those coming. You don't want to stack a rider who's just going down. You don't want to hit the oil of a guy who's just popped his motor. You want to keep your head up. And all of those things, and the vision of spotting your entry and your exit markers, will all increase your ability on the streets. You'll be more adept to handling weird crap that happens, especially if you live in Northern California like I do. It can be a little sketchy riding on the streets. So this training, it's not just about going fast. It's about developing your skill sets, like your vision, your reaction timing, your finesse, because you can't go faster simply by banging on everything. You've got to be smooth as fast. So anyways, I'm about ready to get to my exit. We're going to be pulling into Thunderhill Raceway here in a little bit. Check back in for more videos later. Have a good one.